Now if you ride an adventure bike, it's inevitable that your bike will get dirty at some point, but it's all part of the fun. But if you're that rider that starts off an adventure with a dirty bike, then this video is for you. G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I have absolutely no issues with getting my bike dirty. Whether it's the mud, dust or sand, I will ride through it if I need to. But on the other hand, I also love nothing more than having a super clean bike. I believe that if you look after your bike, it will look after you. Now recently I've had a couple of people reach out and mention how clean my bike looks after its big adventures, as well as asking me how I keep it so clean. So in today's video, I'm out to wash the bike and run you all through the process of how I keep this old girl looking so shiny and clean. So here we are guys, just in the shed, getting a few things together before I get out and start washing this bike. I did go for a ride last week in the Glasshouse Mountains, so the bike definitely needs a wash. It's not the dirtiest it's ever been, that's for sure. I've had it a lot dirtier than this, but I do like to wash the bike after every off-road ride, so this is no different. So a bit of a close-up, you can see dust, mud, it's pretty much everywhere. It's not super dirty, but as I said, definitely needs a clean. It's not up to my standards, that is for sure. Now just quickly, before I wheel the bike out and start actually washing it, I'll take you over to the bench here and show you a few of the things that I'm going to be using. So just quickly guys, running from left to right, I've got some wheel cleaner here, I've got some workshop degreaser, got some chain cleaner for the chain obviously, we have some tyre shine to finish off with, I've got a spray cannon here for the foam spray, and then we've also got the heavy duty super wash which goes in the foam sprayer. And then over here we've just got a couple of sponges and also a towel to dry the bike once that's all washed up. Now obviously with having a foam spray guys, you do have to have a pressure cleaner to use that with. Now I've got the old trusty Karcher here, and yes it is very old, I've had it for about 8 years now. It's struggling, it's on its last legs, but it's still hanging in there, so we'll get it done today. Maybe I'll update it very soon. I know some people do get a bit iffy with using pressure cleaners to clean their motorbikes. This one here is on the lower end of pressure, it's just your general residential one that you use around the house, so it's not super powerful. If you do have a super powerful industrial type pressure cleaner, you're gonna have to be careful of where you actually use it on the bike and how close you hold it to the bike. You don't want to be getting in really close to all these hoses and everything. That pressure could break stuff and you do not want that. So if you've got a similar one to mine that's on the lower end of the pressure scale, you should be fine. But that's enough from me in here guys. I'll wheel the bike outside, get all the hoses set up, and get on into it. So step one, as you can see guys, is to use the foam sprayer attachment on the pressure cleaner and soap up the entire bike. Now whatever brand you use, just check you mix the solution with the correct amount of water for your spray gun attachment before you start spraying. Once you've covered the bike with the foam spray, go ahead and let the solution sit for a few minutes before you start washing it off. This gives the solution time to work its way in and around all the muck and grime on the bike, which will make it fall off the bike a lot easier once you start spraying it off. I like to start from the ground and work my way up the bike. This just allows the solution even more time to do its thing on the parts where I'm not yet spraying. Whereas if you start spraying from the top down, it will all just wash off together. Now this whole step is what you would call a touchless wash, meaning you aren't touching the bike to complete this step. This step will help you prevent from rubbing sand and dirt all over your bike with your sponge, which will cause scratches. It will wash off the bulk of the muck and grime before you get the sponges out. Probably not super important on a bike like this, or any bike with plastic guards really, but it is super important for your higher end bikes which aren't just made up of cheap and easy to replace plastics. So from here you can go ahead and make sure you pressure wash the whole bike, get rid of all of that wash solution and all of the muck and grime off the bike. Once you're happy with that, it's time for the next step. So for step 2, I like to get the spray cans out so I can remove any grease and grime that your general soap just doesn't usually get. First off, it's the wheel cleaner. Obviously it's mainly for use on your wheels and hubs, but you can use it on some other areas if you need to. Secondly, I'll get out the chain cleaner, which obviously with the name you can tell it's for the chain. It just removes any excess chain lube or greases that are hanging around those areas. And finally, I'll get the degreaser. I use a degreaser basically everywhere else on the bike, all over the engine, the swing arm, the forks, underneath the bike. I find if I do this regularly, cleaning the bike is a much easier process. But once I've sprayed all these products on the bike, I'll give them a couple of minutes to do their thing before I go and wash them all off. So step 3 guys, the bike is already looking pretty good. but it's time to get the sponges out and give this bike a nice scrub. Now for this step, you're going to want to go and get yourself a bucket with some warm water and mix it with just some general car wash soap solution. Any old brand will work, they'll all do the same thing. Mine is just out of shot on the camera at the moment, but get your sponge, start wiping down the bike. I like to work from the top down with this step. Try and do it in sections as well so you know where you've actually washed on the bike and hose it off as you go. Just keep doing this process until you've done the whole bike. This should get rid of all those last little bits of muck and grime, anything like that the pressure washer just hasn't got to. So moving on to step 4 guys, which is drying the bike. Now I know a lot of you here probably won't do this step, you'll just let your bike dry naturally in the sun, which is fine. But I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to cleaning my bikes, so I like to get out the drying towel and go all over the bike and make sure it's fully dry. This just helps remove the chance of having any of those water droplets dry with dust on them and just going to leave spots all over the bike anyway, which is not what I want when I've just spent all this time cleaning the bike. But once the bike's fully dry, it's time to move on to the final step, which is a nice and easy one. So step 5, the bike is all clean, all the muck and grime is gone. It's time to really start to make this bike shine, and what better way to do that with some tyre shine. Now as the name suggests, it's tyre shine, but there's no rules to say you can't use this on other parts of the bike, right? Personally, I like to use this on a lot of the bike, as you can see here in the footage, on some of the plastics, the fork guards, engine casings. It really makes the bike shine. Just be careful not to spray this on your brake discs, or you may not be stopping in a hurry next time you're on your bike. But clearly, covering the bike in tyre shine is going to make it look clean and shiny, but I find there's another reason to do it. I find that with the layer of tyre shine on the bike, yeah, the dust and dirt does stick to it, but it also makes it much easier to clean off when I get back home from those adventures. It creates a sort of barrier between all the dirt and grime and the bike, and it saves me plenty of time when I'm cleaning. There are a few other products that will do a similar sort of job, things like Inox or WD-40, but I just find tyre shine works great for me. Plus it doesn't stink out my entire garage like the other products do, and it's cheaper. So it's just what works for me, but each to their own guys. And one final thing here that I forgot to film is reapply that chain lube. So if you did use a chain cleaner like I did while washing your bike, be sure you reapply that chain lube before you head out on the bike on your next adventure. Well, there you have it guys, that's how I keep my bike as clean as possible. Yeah, I use a lot of tyre shine, that is true. But if you do cover your bike in tyre shine or some other kind of product before you head out on your ride, I feel like it's a lot easier to clean all that dirt and grime off when you get back home. But a massive thanks as always for watching guys. If you got any questions, anything that you do different to your bike when you're cleaning it, let me know down below in the comments. I'll be interested to hear. Like the video if you did enjoy this one, and of course subscribe if you haven't already guys so you don't miss out on the next videos that are coming up. Thanks again guys, see you all soon.